Hello and welcome to LNP's The Huddle. I'm Tim Gross, joined here by John Walk and Laura Thompson. It's playoff time. The district tournaments open up on Friday. 9 LL League teams made the playoffs, and we're here to talk about 3 of the games that they'll be in. We're here to talk about Shippensburg at Solanco, Palmyra at Lampeter Strasburg, and Governor Mifflin at Manheim Township. We'll start in the southern end. They're pretty excited about Solanco's first ever home district playoff game. They're welcoming the Greyhounds, and how do you think that one's going to play out?
Yeah, and I believe Solanco coming into this has yet to ever win a postseason game at all in school history, so they're looking to make a bit of history this Friday night. Shippensburg comes in at 7-3 overall. Solanco obviously coming off their first loss of the year last week against a very good Manheim Central team in a game that went down to the wire. In that game still, Solanco put up, 340-some rushing yards, so the ground game is still working very much for the Mules. I don't see that changing at all here, and Solanco's going to bounce back. I don't see him having any problem. I'm taking the Mules in this one.
Well, the Greyhounds are not just going to roll over and play dead. They have a decent offense. Their quarterback, Tyler Gustafson, has passed for nearly 1,800 yards this season. He has 17 touchdowns passing. Easy for me to say. 5 of his completions are to his brother Cody, and the other 11 are to Wade Mills. So they're going to be bringing a passing attack to Solanco, so they're going to have to defend that. But the good news for Solanco is that his defense has allowed about 118 points so far this year total. Plus Solanco's offense on top of it, they've scored 45 touchdowns. So I am going with the Golden Mules this week.
I agree with you guys. I think the loss to Townships are going to stir up a little fire in the Mules, and they'll come out ready to play. And their defense has taken care of business all year in the passing game at least, and I think that'll continue in the playoffs. So. Also down toward the southern end of the county, we've got Lampeter Strasburg hosting Palmyra, and the Pioneers they've lost 3 straight district games, and they're looking to try to buck that trend. Do you think they'll do it?
Yeah, I don't think they've won since 2011 in districts, and Palmyra, that's a team they started out the year 6-0, then they lost 3 straight to the top 3 teams in the Mid-Penn Capital Division. Now they did bounce back in Week 10, beating a winless West Perry squad. Not all that impressive. So Palmyra, this is the time of the year when you want to be playing your best football of the year. Palmyra seems to be sputtering. Plus you add into the fact Lampeter Strasburg and Solanco, if they both win this week, they face each other next week in week 12 it would be. And I think that's a rematch that LS would very much want. You guys can talk about the players and the stats, but I just think based on those facts alone, I'm taking the Pioneers in this one.
I have to agree with you, John. I think the motivation of possibly playing Solanco again in the next round is very big for LS. They're going to want another shot at them. And Palmyra, I think they've had a lot of wear and tear down the stretch. They've had some key injuries in their backfield, but Chris Pope, their head coach, says that they're all healthy and coming out of that slump that they've been in. But then again, Bear Shank is healthy too, and because of that and the very balanced offensive cast he has around him and a solid defense, I am going with the Pioneers.
Yeah, John, you mentioned you want to be playing your best football of the year going into the playoffs, and I think LS, when they lost to Solanco earlier in the year, I think they just found another gear. They lost Darren Metz, and they just kind of figured it out and went on a roll, and they've scored 34 points or more in the last 5 games, and I think that's going to be a little too much for Palmyra to handle. So I'm picking the Pioneers as well. And finally in Quad A, we've got Mifflin Township, which is actually a rematch of a regular season game with Township won 42-28. Do you think this one will go the same way?
Yeah, and that was back in week 3, so a lot has changed since then. And I think Township, for a good part, they've gotten better almost every single week. They beat Hempfield last week, and I bring up that game because Governor Mifflin comes into this matchup as a team that loves to run the ball. They have a 1,000-yard rusher in Lucas Garner. Defensively, Mifflin has a really good run defense, but they can't stop the pass. Who does that remind you of? Reminds me of Hempfield. I was at that game last week. Hempfield had no answer. Hempfield had no answer for Township. QB Benjamin plus receivers John Stutz, Riley McDonald, and Cade Kubicki. They're all unstoppable. I don't see that changing this week. I see Township rolling in this one. How about you?
Agree. Eric Benjamin has passed for more than 2,100 yards so far this season. He has 27 touchdown passes, and as a card-carrying Wilson grad, the Mustangs are my natural enemy, so I'm picking against the Mustangs this week and going with streaks.
I agree with you guys. I think Benjamin just kind of have thrown at will at times, and I think Mifflin had a hard time stopping them in the regular season. I don't think that's going to change in the playoffs. So look for the streaks to advance. So that's our picks. Tune in to LancasterOnline.com throughout the weekend. We'll have plenty of coverage. And have a good weekend, everyone.